Well, this is the first time we've done the Coca-Cola 600. It's the longest race we will probably ever do, even though we probably will make this a feature from this point on. Be hard to drop it from the NASCAR Chat Series schedule. Rowdy Burns and Brad Keselowski, the front row for our first ever Coca-Cola 600. So Brad Keselowski, with a pass right off the initial start of this race, will lead the first of 400 laps. Which is interesting to see. In some brief testing that I did do, generally, off the restart, the leader was the one to hold that point. But with the restart zone in there, maybe it, kind of messed some stuff up, and maybe we'll get a little bit more randomness here on these restarts, of which we know there will be at least 3. Rowdy Burns trying to make the move around the outside. Looks like it might stick. And not only that, Mark Martin might have a lane around Brad Keselowski around the outside. Our first chat car is not until all the way back in 6th in Squid. The 316 is yet to win a NASCAR Chat Series race, but plenty successful in the Mazda MX-5 Cup from a year ago. The freshly minted 45 and B dollar sign just right behind, and actually followed by another chat car in Red Wings. Biding your time is not a bad thing to do. I know. Yeah, that Nitchman guy absolutely sucks. I'm worse than a starting park. I never even start. I wish I could drop that off the ticker. Unfortunately, not the case. Technically 34 cars in the race, but the 313 has never left the pit lane all season. So Dollar Sign made the move on Squid. Brad Keselowski, back up at the front of the field, has gone back into second place, but Rowdy Burns with a 6/10 of a second lead over Keselowski. As always, we are going to want to take a look at the back of the field and see if there's anything absolutely wild happening. And it's a little bit packed together, but nothing too bad. Oh, what the hell is that number on Will Power's car? Something broke. That number font is hideous. It's just the default. Oh, well. It's Will Power, and of course you see Bobby Labonte there in the white car. Never loaded in properly, despite many attempts last night and even today to get the interstate battery scheme back on there. Ooh, 62, Kuzmic way out of shape. So the way the Coke 600 generally works, there have been some exceptions, but if your car's good in the day, generally it won't be very good come nighttime. Martin Truex Jr., who's in this field somewhere, back in 12th place, is one of the few drivers to ever really dominate a Coca-Cola 600, and that is why he's here. Ricky Bobby just behind. And again, I mentioned it in qualifying. Sadly, I couldn't put a big old Fig Newtons sticker. Hailie Deegan has some problems somewhere on the racetrack. The yellow flag is going to come out, as it had told me that Deegan has crashed. Well, the first incident of the Coca-Cola 600 is Hailie Deegan. Black car got squeezed into the wall. I think that was Caleb, who got out of shape, got loose in the 38. Nowhere to go. Got absolutely pinned into the outside wall. So on board with Deegan. Yep. Squeezed into the wall by the 35 of Caleb. And I mean, there was some pretty substantial damage to the right side and just the front of that car in general. Pretty tough hit there for Deegan. Right behind Deegan. Move to the outside. Oh! So I see the problem there. It's like Caleb tried to make a move around Ash. Couldn't because the 38 was there. They got hooked together. Didn't take long to have our first yellow flag of the Coke 600. Rowdy Burns and Brad Keselowski still the front row as we are about to get the Coca-Cola 600 back underway. Let's see if Keselowski can do what he did off the opening start of this race. Well, Brad Keselowski has made the move around Rowdy Burns, and now Carl Edwards is trying to make the move around Keselowski, and he does. I don't know why What Are We Doing is playing other than my fucking PlayStation charger cord was on the stream deck. Lap 14 here, and Carl Edwards has been shot out of a cannon. I think so. I think so just in general. I mean, you see the cars that really like to ride the bottom. I mean, it's not really very advised to be right on the line here at Charlotte. Lap 15, it goes Edwards, Keselowski, Burns. How about Juan Pablo Montoya in fourth place in the Juicy Fruit scheme this time around? Not really much of a factor in any of the races that he's been in. Oh no. I know we're only 16 laps in, but some of the biggest winners and losers, Juan Pablo Montoya is actually the biggest gainer so far today, up 7 spots. Ricky Bobby and Aiden. Actually, Aiden is just up there with Montoya now, up 7 spots. Jodo has lost 11 spots since the start of this race. Yo Gamer has lost 9. Hailie Deegan only lost 3. Whoa! Oh my goodness, Rowdy Burns. Montoya's gonna get around Burns. That 51 was wrecking loose there off of turn 2. And as always, since it was brought up under the yellow flag, we do have the debris cautions. But in a 400-lap race and you only get 2 of them, I don't even know if anyone wants to really even think about using one in the first half of the race. Couple of Fords leading 4 Chevys. Hungry on the charge. Too wide behind Edwards. Montoya trying to make a move around Keselowski. And he has. The 42 is on a mission here. We'll see. Hopefully Aiden's, kind of in that Yo Gamer category where he just pops in every now and then. Actually bringing up the rear of the field right now. Besides Hailie Deegan, at least the field on the lead lap is your Homestead winner, Travis Pastrana. Oh my goodness, what an absolute mess up here. We shall see. Pastrana with a pass on Will Power. For last on track, Deegan out of shape in that mix as well. As Carl Edwards will continue to lead here on lap 21. Hard charging one, Pablo Montoya sitting in behind. Montoya less than half a second back from Edwards, and let's go on board with Cousin Carl.
What are we doing?
Well, Edwards still leading, but we'll go back out to TV cam and look at, in the span of a lap, on Pablo Montoya has moved even closer. Now, I'm not really sure how far the fuel run is here at Charlotte. We're certainly going to find out as this one does. Maybe, perhaps. Maybe I should get rid of that. But we'll do that under caution. Otherwise, it's going to break the ticker. Potential move to the lead. One Pablo Montoya looking to the outside of Carl Edwards. Looks like that'll have to try and wait until 3 and 4. But potentially a good run down the back. He's going to look to the inside on Edwards. And how about Montoya? Up 10 places since the start of this race. If he can make this move stick on Edwards, which for the moment he cannot, because, and I mean, we've kind of already started to notice this, the high lane is the better way to go. Montoya tried to make that move down the inside of Edwards. I think if he just waits till turn 1 or turn 3 and then lets Edwards go low and then he just tries to go up high, I think that's going to be what could work, as Montoya has fallen off a bit. Rowdy Burns is back up into 3rd place. Trying to recapture the lead that he lost off of our first restart. So what we're seeing so far off of the 2 starts, it's really good to be on the outside. Which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense with the restart zone enabled, with the leader being the control car, getting to decide when everyone goes. That shouldn't really happen, but so far it has been the case. Back up to the top 2 as Montoya has closed in again. Or at least he did. Well, let's check on our chatters for the moment. Squid is your leading chatter for this current moment in time. However, the new addition in Aiden looking to make the move around the outside. Squid nowhere to go with Mark Martin in front of him. 2 wide through turns 1 and 2. And Squid out of shape on the bottom, and the 5 car will get by. Then just behind them is Red Wings in the 71. Been in every chat series race so far. Your Indianapolis 500 winner in Smee, even though, do we really count him as a chatter? Following him, dollar sign in the Carolina Blue, the 45 Jordan brand car. Ash is up 3 places all of a sudden, up into 14th, just got around Pat, it does appear. As Pat, I mean, does come into this race as your points leader, at least tied in the points with somebody we'll get to a little later on in this kind of chat through the field. Caleb getting passed, it does appear, by Martin Truex Jr. Why? What is it with my car and Jordo's car? We can't really seem to get away from each other in any. Oh no! Speaking of, contact was made. Are both of these cars all right? Maybe we should have stayed away from each other. Yeah, just a little nudge, that's all. I don't see any damage on either of the cars. Both cars will stay out, so if there is any damage, it's definitely not too bad. Well, the one who got the best view of that, if you want to call it that, was Evo. Luke is sitting right alongside, and then Yo Gamer. Is this the race? It certainly does appear so, even with a long way to go here in this first stage, that this might be where the streak ends. The 56 is finished in the stage points in every one of our 3 points races so far this year. Daytona, Homestead, and Talladega. Which is why he's tied for the points lead with Pat. But down there, in 26th place for the moment, he's lost 7 spots since the start of this race. Wild ride. Just behind that is El Jefe. Had a chance to win the Indianapolis 500 a couple days ago. Could not get it done. Austin in the race for DFL. Looking pretty good early on, but what did we just say? The cars in the daytime sometimes aren't the best cars at nighttime. As actually, while we were doing all that, Juan Pablo Montoya has made his way around Carl Edwards for the lead as we come to take lap 34. Yeah, so these cars dance around here at Charlotte quite a bit, I've noticed. I played with the smoothness, and I even bumped it up to 100 in a test once, and it just didn't really seem to do anything for the AI, so I bumped them back down to 75 so we can at least maybe have some goofiness occur, and we're just not watching cars drive around in circles on rails for probably about 4 hours. Montoya now stretching that lead, and nobody's really been able to stretch too big of a lead just yet. And I mean, we don't exactly know what the fuel window is. Nobody's made a move to the inside or to the pit lane quite yet. Which is expected. We didn't expect it to be right around here. But I'd say that window, I think Evo's pretty much right about spot on. I would say about 45 to 50. Somewhere in there we should expect pit stops. Which if that's the case, it could make for some really crazy shakeups in terms of the stages. You pit on the right or wrong side of lap 50. Who knows, as it's an 0.8 of a second lead for Juan Pablo Montoya. Yep. Yeah, then we get ourselves into the scenario that we were at in Indy. So many differing strategies that, I mean, we had no idea who was going to have enough gas to make it to the end of that race until the end of that race. And unfortunately, that was me. So again, I mean, with all the chatters, I mean, there's a couple inside the top 10, but the majority of them are 10th on back. All of them in there towards the middle or back part of the field. I feel like we do have to bring it up that this is still, chat cars have higher skills than the real drivers. It's not really being shown right now, but that is indeed the case, as Juan Pablo Montoya leads by over a second on Carl Edwards. Lap number 40. I don't usually start this race, or these races, just the minute I get home, so I probably should have gone to the bathroom prior to the start of this race. So, we will, you know what, let's head into Scenic Cam for a minute. And, well, maybe not scenic. Maybe not scenic. You know what? Let's go blimp cam with Juan Pablo Montoya, and I will be back in a few moments. Well, we either missed an incident while we were gone, or pit stops have started. Let's take a look here at Yo Gamer. I'd say his car appears fine. I think that is a scheduled stop, but it's earlier than anybody else's. Which means he is not going to be able to make it to the end of this stage. Gonna need some help. But I mean, clearly you can go a little while longer. Unless Yo Gamer's fuel mileage just isn't exactly it. That lead is just kind of plateaued around 1.5 seconds for Montoya here. But I mean, he's good to go. Yeah, I'm not really sure I get the strategy, but every time I've looked at these odd pit strategies, especially as of late, most of them end up paying out. That didn't really seem to be something that I would have done, but I wouldn't have pitted at the end of Stage 2 in the All-Star race either, and we saw what happened with Evo. So Yo Gamer dropped the lap doing that, by the way. As if the pit cycles are 45 to 50 laps. Well, these cars are trying to exceed that. Trying to stretch it and make Stage 1 a one-stopper. I mean, Yo Gamer should be on the freshest. I mean, he is on the freshest tires. Got about 50 laps on tires here. About 45 of that under green. Saw a lot of shuffling mid-pack. I thought something was going on there. He might be. And I think with the yellow Now, I mean, those couple laps under caution maybe save him enough to the point that he could stay out if a caution were to fly before the first scheduled stops of the day. It's relatively tight between Rowdy Burns and Mark Martin. Not entirely. Burns has dropped back down to 4th place. Our top chatter now is the one making his NASCAR Chat Series debut. And he's about to get got by Tony Stewart, and Squid is just in behind. Tony Stewart does have his teammate Bobby Labonte in this race, but again, we unfortunately have that for Labonte as Caleb was flirting with the wall back there. You know, this kind of reminds me of when Bobby Labonte ran the Coke 600 and almost won it. Got edged out by Jimmy Johnson right at the end of that race. When Bobby Labonte, oddly enough, drove the FedEx car. Pre-Denny Hamlin. This is Jason Leffler territory. Oh, man. 18 was real loose up on the top of Pat. That got scary there for your points leader. As now, all of a sudden, the lead is 2.5 seconds for Juan Pablo Montoya here on lap 53. Still awaiting our first pit stops of the race. At least in terms of, fuel run. I do wonder if anything happened to Yo Gamer. Like, the car looked fine, but maybe by that point, a fast repair had already occurred. I know, and so I actually wanted to put Bobby Labonte in the FedEx car for this race, but nobody's made one, and I didn't have time, so. Take a look at some best lap times. Rowdy Burns with a pretty fast lap. I thought Ricky Bobby might be fast, but no. A couple of these cars in race conditions have gotten under 29 seconds. That's Montoya, and that is Burns. Two of the cars that have led the most laps today. Surprisingly enough to me, Carl Edwards did not. Because, I mean, Carl was so fast off that first restart. Safe to say it's a one-stopper for everybody that pits from this point forward. I'm just actually very confused as to why we're still able to go fully here. No pit stops have occurred yet. Yeah, we got it. We got secondary. We got auxiliary tanks. Either that or everyone's just been in fuel-saving mode this whole time. Doesn't seem very likely. 3.4 seconds. At the very least, there's some tire fall-off happening to everybody except Juan Pablo Montoya. Never a winner on an oval in the NASCAR Cup Series. Came close a couple different times. Actually, I want to say Richmond in the Depends car was leading towards the backstage of a race there and could not get the job done. Because, like, what happens if you Google Charlotte Motor Speedway, like, fuel run or something like that? Fuel range. This is crazy out here. That too, yep. And I mean, would make sense that he was really good at Indy. Was always a driver to me, Montoya, that I always rooted for. I know he became a bit of a meme for the jet dryer thing, but I thought it was cool. So I remember, actually, there was a thing on Speed Channel, where I want to say, back before, I think it was Tony Stewart and Lewis Hamilton did it, Jeff Gordon and Juan Pablo Montoya swapped rides for a while. So Montoya drove Gordon's car, and Jeff Gordon hopped behind the wheel of an Indy car. Or not an Indy car, sorry, a Formula One car. Pit window is 65 laps. Well then, what the hell happened to Yo Gamer? Now the good news for him is that if things stand as they are, yeah, Yo Gamer will be able to make it anyway. Maybe that's... Did he do a smart? Did he really undercut the whole field and it's gonna keep that run of top 10 stage finishes alive? There's just no way. No fucking way he pulls that off. Well, we've been riding around with Montoya for a minute. Let's go back into the field, see if there's anything of intrigue. Cal Naughton is all by himself. Ash riding around. Let's actually go on board with Ash for a lap. A lot of lifting there in turns 1 and 2 especially. But we remain without pit stops yet. No, we do not. Juan Pablo Montoya will pit from the lead. Carl Edwards doing so as well. Mark Martin has stayed out on track to lead at lap 65 here. We are very much in that pit window, and even benefited with a yellow flag there as Mark will drop to the middle lane. I'd assume he's going to come down pit road here. And so, unbelievably, I don't think Yo Gamer's going to assume the lead of the race, but he has had those fresh tires for quite some time. Maybe he does. There's an unfortunate sight to see. Smee is back up front. Only for a brief time. Smee gets around Montoya. Ash has actually stayed out a little bit extra and moved into second. She will drop to the inside, so pitting this time. You know who's not? The unsponsored white car of Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte comes around to lead lap 66. As we're cycling this thing around here. Yo Gamer has not been able to get back on the lead lap yet, but that's because the whole cycle is not done. Look at me in second place. I can't tell if I'm coming down pit road or not. I don't think so. Trying to get around Mark Martin there. I was just trying to get around Mark Martin. Coming down the pit lane anyway. D. Kuzmic has been last, or at least in much of the early stages of this race. He is now your leader, at least for the time being. There are a few cars left to pit here. I think this might actually work out a bit for Yo Gamer. We'll see when it fully cycles through. I think he might actually be top 10. Look at that. Moving up. And they're still... Well, actually, we're getting near the cycle being completed. Rowdy Burns is going to try and unlap himself the hard way. Burns to the inside. Actually, wait. Okay, I think I looked at the ticker just a little bit too late. He is not a lap down anymore. But 8th through 33rd is. And they're at the mercy here of D. Kuzmic and Will Power, who have probably been saving fuel since the start of this race, judging by their pace. I mean, these were cars at the back of the field to see the speed difference between the 62 and the 20 on those fresh tires. 62 staying out another lap. And would you look at that? There's Yo Gamer. Sitting in 9th. He may have actually pulled it off. Because, I mean, I want to say, and of course, now he pitted while I was gone. But I think he wasn't even in the top 20. Aiden, however, is just on an absolute rocket right now. Might not work out for Yo Gamer as much as we expected. I mean, you got to think about just how much older his tires are. Ooh, close there. Keselowski and Kuzmic. 62 just has no pace left. I'm not really sure what he's trying to do here. I don't believe he came into pit at any stage. Yo Gamer will make his way around. I mean, he just, look at how slow that car is. Even with Yo Gamer there, who's got, I mean, 30 laps on his tires. I mean, it can't work. Let's take a look. Did I miss a pit stop? Oh, I did. D. Kuzmic and Will Power pitted under the lap 10 caution. They pitted on lap 10. So there's that. And now Will Power has made his move to the pit lane. So he will start to drop. And Juan Pablo Montoya is going to cycle around and eventually take this lead back. Whenever D. Kuzmic decides to pit. He is at 65 laps in this run right now. So pretty much as long as I think he could have gone. I mean, just try to Hail Mary, and I think we needed a couple more yellow flags for this to maybe work out the way that he wanted to, but not really sure. I don't think he's making a move to come into the pit lane. He's going to lead some laps, damn it. Good for you. Montoya making up ground quickly. He's shaved about 3 seconds off of that Kuzmic lead in about the last 3 laps. Stalling just a little bit, though. That's again out of, oh, there it is. Well, too late. Kuzmic down the pit lane. He will pit from the lead. Juan Pablo Montoya on the backstretch will assume the race lead again. He's got a pretty substantial lead over Carl Edwards. Yo Gamer has dropped back down to 14th, but overall, I think you gotta say, now depending on where the 56 was when he did pit, as I do wonder if something has happened to Hailie Deegan again. If it did, we just missed it. That car is back out on track now. It felt like she was in the pit lane for quite some time. Not enough to bring up a notification that a car crashed, so that's pretty much my indication, I think, for a race like this of a yellow flag, where everyone's so stretched out all over. Oh, yeah, she definitely crashed again. He might. He might. He's certainly back there, the 4 car. Hunting down Natalie Decker for the moment. Well, hey, all it's going to take is a couple hard crashes with the one faster pair for the 4 car to achieve his dream. A car that has scored 38 points through 3 races. And, like, I wish I could say that I rigged this car to be last because that's what Austin wants to do in this series. I didn't. He's got the same skills as every other car, and yet is nowhere close in the points. How about an onboard lap with Austin? Well, he's going to be really disappointed if he makes this pass here on Travis. Well, actually, he was trying to make a move on Natalie Decker. No pun intended. But actually, is going to get passed here by Travis Pastrana as Gundy just came shooting out of a cannon. Car that hasn't gotten a lot of screen time here today, the 48. Good old Jimmy Johnson throwback. Stars and stripes on these cars all throughout the field. And yeah, that really didn't work out for D. Kuzmic or Will Power. I mean, they both pitted on lap 10. They're back to 31st and 32nd. Last 2 cars on track. Look at the snap of that 48. Well, it's a shame to see some of these chat cars all the way in the back like this. I'm not really sure why that is the case. There are 18 laps to go in stage 1 of the first ever NASCAR Chat Series Coca-Cola 600. Not really seeing it get dark yet. I would expect that more towards stage 2. As Juan Pablo Montoya continues to lead. Now, do we have to worry that some cars might go a lap down here? I mean, we're getting to the end of this stage, but when you think about the fact that a lap here is, you know, around about 30 seconds, I want to say those last on-track cars, Kuzmic and Power, 27 seconds behind. Probably add a couple more seconds that Montoya would have to gain on that to really start to lap him. But let's see where Kuzmic is. He just entered turn 3 there. And then Montoya is on his tail. However, I would say the only cars that I would really be worried about going a lap down are probably Kuzmic and Power. So then at that point, it's just a battle for the free pass during the stage 1 yellow flag. Right now, there would be very minimal stage points to award to chatters. Aiden, who, I mean, missed 3 races. I say missed, only joined the chat series last week. So points aren't really a thing for him. I think he's out here to win races. And then Smee. Motherfucking Smee is also currently sitting top 10. But Red Wings is in 11th. Could maybe give ourselves a little bit of goofiness here towards the end. Red Wings there on the exit of turn 2. Brad Keselowski up the straightaway. Where is Cal Naughton Jr.? Problems on the racetrack. The yellow flag will come out with 13 to go in stage number 1. Well, in his NASCAR Chat Series debut, Cal Naughton Jr. and Ash, 47 and 46. Through 3 and 4, Ash made a move to the inside and just doored Naughton into the outside wall. At least that's how it looks from Blimp Cam. Oh, there was problems here in the back. That looked like Jeff there that actually got into the back of somebody. So we'll see if the TV camera tells the same story. Ash with a move to the inside. Oh, you know what? I'm once again gonna say that that is not Ash's fault. Looked like the 47 got loose. Oh, and it was Jeff. Evo and myself just barely squeezing through that. Oh, those are gonna be some fun rides. So we'll go on board with Cal Naughton Jr. Actually, probably should have gone cockpit cam here. But the car, I think, gets out of shape just a little bit. Ash might have come up a little bit too, but... And then chase cam with Evo. Gonna follow me in through the carnage ahead. Problems there, just gassed it up. Got it through. That certainly could have been way worse than it actually wound up being. About to get the Coca-Cola 600. Stage 1 will be back to green. We will have 9 laps to go in the opening stage. Mark Martin leads the field to green. Well, the finish for stage 1 could be one hell of a finish indeed. 3 cars looking to have a chance at it. Look at Aiden in his Chad Series debut, up to second. Around Rowdy Burns, who was the best car in the early stages of this race, your pole sitter. And now Mark Martin and Aiden can set in for a battle here. Perhaps. Rowdy Burns is not yet done with Aiden. Burns to the inside as he'll cross the stripe, take lap 94. Mark Martin trying to peace out. Aiden 0.6 of a second back. Aiden, dollar sign. Red Wings, and actually Caleb currently slated for stage points. Caleb's making moves. Up to 7th place, up 19 spots from the start of this thing in the 35. Looking to make the move on Will Power for 6. He's got Red Wings right in behind him. And then a train back behind him on the outside lane. But with just a few laps to go on the stage, it is Mark Martin. Has had some decent runnings in the Chance Series thus far. Really hasn't been able to put anything solid together. Was pretty good at the first stage in Homestead. Got the opportunity and is just trying to run away with stage 1. Yo Gamer sits 16th. It does appear that that run will come to an end. And how about Lucas? Back in the field all day, right pit strategy. He's up into 10th place. Cal Naughton Jr. lost 3 laps on his pit stop. Mark Martin a little bit loose there, and look who's up into second. This 35. We're only going to have 3 laps to go in the stage, but look at the 35 of Caleb. Out of absolutely nowhere, got through all that, and might just find himself winning a stage here. Would imagine that this is one of the cars that pitted. And the 35 in only its second ever race, he was in the Spire 30 or a 77. through the first 3 events. Michigan State on the hood, on the side. Holy. And he stretched the lead to a second over Mark Martin with 2 to go in stage 1. Pits are closed for the stage, by the way. A 2.5 lead. Yo Gamer had actually fallen back down to 17. Lap 100 has been reached. 1.7 seconds for Caleb here. And only stretching that gap out even more. He always pops in at the worst time, says his driver sucks. His car sucks. Well, the right call at the right time is going to net Caleb a stage win. Long way to go in the Coke 600. But the 35 wins a stage. See how the rest of it shakes out. Yellow flag stage ends. So let's see. Stage winner is Caleb. Mark Martin in second. $sign in third. Great rebound for Juan Pablo Montoya for 4th place. Will Power hung on somehow for 5th. Ricky Bobby 6th. Jeff salvages stage points in 7th. Aiden in 8th. Tony Stewart 9th. And Lucas with a good call to get himself into the top 10. And those are your stage 1 results. How long have we been live? An hour 25 to get through stage 1. Now there was qualifying, there was the intro in there. The time it takes to load in, so we're really looking at a 4-hour long race. Which means don't expect this video anytime soon. Juan Pablo Montoya, Ricky Bobby, your front row to start stage 2. Well, I was about to say that I thought we were getting a good glimpse at just how good that 42 was. Actually held on to the lead off the restart for a moment. But Ricky Bobby moves into the lead. Tony Stewart follows through. Jeff going to come through on the high side. And it looks like Montoya could be backing up. Evo gains places off the restart. Up into 4th already. Stuck in behind Montoya and Stewart flirting with 3 wide. Either Evo or Jeff, one of those cars, thought better of it. A slew of chat cars right in here. Montoya out of shape on the inside. Evo the smart move to get around to the outside lane. And then now look at Yo Gamer, who has speed all of a sudden. Ricky Bobby, 0.2 seconds. Tony Stewart catching up to that. And maybe now Jeff and Evo can start to try and get up there in a fight for the lead. Ricky Bobby under some tremendous pressure. Jeff joining the party. Just a few laps here into this second stage. Much tighter racing up at the top of the field than what we've seen off restarts. Generally, whoever has led a lap just after that, and look at this, Jeff to the lead on the inside. He got tied up. Ricky Bobby did with Tony Stewart trying to keep him behind him. And the 55 had a crazy run and up into the lead, but here comes Stewart. Jeff will lead to take lap 110. This is going to be chaotic up here at the front of the field, isn't it? Well, we know not to take the running order at this point in a stage, as it's going to be that way when the stage ends. But if it were to end this way right now, Yo Gamer would take over solo points lead for the first time all year. Him and Pat have been tied now for 2 races. Travis Pastrana has entered the pit lane. Have we had issues? Let's take a look. Front, rear, those look fine. Caution flag has waved. And I'm not even entirely sure for what. Uh-oh. Yes, I do. Will Power, Red Wings, and Brad Keselowski. Well, so to be honest, I don't even know what really happened here. Oh, that looks really similar to what we saw earlier, as Will Power just about went up and over. On board with Will Power here. A little bit of a checkup for the 13, and Power to squeeze somebody in the wall. Then got hit in the side and just kind of tumbled around for a little bit. So Red Wings and Keselowski involved in the wreck. I don't really think they took too much damage outside of Keselowski rear-ending the 71. So we'll see what happens to Will Power here. This is very similar. Oh, no, that's really all on the 12 car. It really is. Did my car come up? Yes. But then the 12 car comes up too and got loose doing it. We're on the nose of the 71 of Red Wings, who's the one Will Power squeezed into the wall here. And just up he comes. There was not room for him to go there. So the 71 is going to have damage. I thought the 12 had gotten hit again. I don't think he did. Surprisingly enough. And really, for as bad as that wreck looked, I think the 12 is going to be okay. Well, we just had our 3rd incident yellow of this race. Jeff will lead the field back to green in the Coca-Cola 600. Tony Stewart to the inside of Jeff on lap 116. Looking for the lead. Ricky Bobby joining the party, but Jeff will hang on for the moment. And yeah, I saw that off the restart. Ricky Bobby kind of got in Evo's way, but Evo held on fairly well, hanging on to 4th place, and once again trying to get back up in the mix. LFA has not won one of our iRacing races, but a multi-time winner in Gran Turismo 7 in the Endurance Series last year. And again, another car, of which there were many, we do have to say, that had a chance to win the Indianapolis 500 late. It just did not work out. So 2 cars trying to break away. Jeff and Ricky Bobby. Stewart and Evo falling back about 8-9 of a second back. And your points leader in Pat has made his way around Yo Gamer. Just dropped a spot to Carl Edwards. Ricky Bobby to the outside. I think this move may just work. Passing around the outside has just been such a sure thing here so far that not a shock to see that work out. Tony Stewart trying to make a move to the inside of Jeff. We'll see if he gets that done. Side by side for the moment. Jeff should get the run out of turn 4. But Evo's loving what he's seeing in front of him. No doubt about that. Those cars stay side by side. The 24 is going to be here real soon. Got a good drive on the entry into the corner. Not so much on the exit for the 24. But compared to where this car was in the really the early stages of stage 1, made the right call there at the very end to get himself in some decent position. That is just how much that can change over the course of 400 laps here in Charlotte. So again, back down to 9th place. Those cars pitted on lap 89, and there's a good chunk that pitted on lap 89 that have since been taken, had their positions taken from them by cars that pitted on lap 102. 9th place in Aiden is actually the leader of that group that pitted under the stage yellow. To the front of the field yet again, Ricky Bobby. 0.8 of a second over Tony Stewart. Ash has made up a couple places here in recent times and fallen back down to 10th. Pat kind of dropping like a rock for the moment. Ash and Aiden side by side at the line. Ash won the race this time around, but Aiden with the preferred line around the outside. And the more these cars battle, I was going to say, the better chances Pat has getting back up in this mix as he'll make the move around the outside of Ash for the time being. Austin in borderline stage points with a long way to go in this second stage. Sitting in 11th for the moment. And your stage 1 winner in Caleb, after the pit stop during the stage break, he's not the leader of that group that pitted on lap 102, but still in fairly decent positioning. And then in between pit cycles, expect to see the 35 back up in the mix. Ooh, that was really close. Between the 62 and the 35, and then it was really close again. Dollar sign looks shot out of a rocket. And looking at the interval, I don't think it's going to be too long before Ricky Bobby has some company. Tony Stewart, who was 8.9 of a second back, has cut that down to 0.3 of a second. As Tony Stewart continues his chase, we will go on board with the number 20. Well, safe to say Tony Stewart's here. He's trying to take the lead away from Ricky Bobby, but so is Jeff. 3-car battle for the lead. That got really close between the 20 and the 26. Ricky Bobby will win the race to the line that time. And Jeff just nowhere to go. Trying to go 3 wide right here is just a death sentence. It really is. But at least he can kind of pick his line, pick his spot. Whoever gets through this battle will probably be the way that Jeff goes. At least I would assume. Stewart looked a little bit out of shape, but then Ricky Bobby, the same deal. Tony Stewart clear into the lead. Jeff trying to do the same for second. And he does. But Evo did make up some time back there in 4th. 1.2, almost 1.3 seconds back. The early dominant car in stage 1. Pablo Montoya sitting in 5th place. Back to Carl Edwards. Yo Gamer right in behind that, as this group can't really break up. They just keep cycling those same positions. Although now Austin's joined in that fray. Right on the tail of Pat. But way more chat cars up here in the top 10 in stage 2 than what we had in stage 1. So, the lap 89 cars. We know that these cars... Oh, Red Wings down on the apron. Did anything new happen to the 71? Front looks, or the back looks good. Oh, yes, it did. Not enough to bring out a yellow, apparently. Not enough to notify me that a car crashed or even went off track, but the 71 had some problems. And I think that car may have already burned through its faster pair. So that means that it's going to be back-to-back really tough luck results, I think, for Red Wings. Jeff leads on lap 132. And Evo actually made a move around Ricky Bobby for 3rd place and trying to get to the inside of Tony Stewart. And he will. With some help from Ricky Bobby. Just funny enough to see, after it was the 26, kind of blocked the 24 off the restart. Kind of derailed. Evo might be already leading this race, if not for Ricky Bobby. So 2 chatters in the 1 and 2 spots. Cal Naughton at the back of the field has actually made up the place on Red Wings. So as we assumed, the faster pair got used under that last yellow flag. Battle for the lead. Here goes Evo. Not much of a battle. 24 out front on lap 134 of the Coke 600. You know, a little bit. You and the 55 did pit on the same lap. There's actually a car that pitted on lap 112 under that first yellow of stage 2. That is Jordo back in 11th place. So there's a few different strategies out there right now. We're certainly a long ways away from finding out which one's going to be the right one and who's going to stick to their strategy. Let's actually take a look and see if there were a good chunk of cars that came down on lap 12. Lap 112. Natalie Decker did. Brad Keselowski did. Will Power has gone off the track. Will Power has crashed. The yellow flag will come out with 65 laps to go in stage number 2. So we're just going to ride around with Will Power here for a little bit. He's already picked up some damage here. And this is like 3 corners before the yellow flag actually came out. So I wonder when this actually happened. And then Bobby Labonte. Power got loose. Contact with Labonte hard into the wall again. So the day gets worse for the 12 of Will Power. Coming around to take lap 140 of 400 in the Coca-Cola 600. A couple of chat cars on the front row. Evo and Jeff will get us back to green. Oh, it was almost like we never even took the green flag there after the restart. We were double file for the first 6 cars. As for the first time today, Ash will lead the Coca-Cola 600. Coming to the line, looks like she'll lead the lap. Austin's up front too. Does not appear that it panned out for Evo and Jeff, who stayed out. And I mean, a reminder, those cars pitted on lap 189, or not 189, on lap 89 during a yellow flag in stage number 1. Jeff is already back to 4th, Evo back to 7th, and Juan Pablo Montoya actually snuck right past me. He leads the Coke 600. 3rd through 28th off the restart. Came in under the yellow flag and left those two just out to dry. It's, I mean, in the span of a couple laps, Evo's back down to 10th. And now outside the top 10. And I mean, lap 137. You can make it to the end of the stage. Yes? I mean, fuel runs about 65 laps. So, yeah, I mean, they can make it even without the caution help. In theory, will some of these cars start to pit towards the end of stage 2? It's hard to say. It could be. And again, I certainly doubted your pit crew when we were at the All-Star race. As Ash is trying to make this a race again at the front of the field. 0.2 of a second back from Juan Pablo Montoya. Actually kind of surprised that we have not seen the sun start to set yet. Or maybe we have. It just feels like it is still very much daylight here. It's a long race. That's for damn sure. If the sim works the way that it should, this race will end in the dark. 46 looking to make a move for the lead. I'd certainly say Juan Pablo is currently your most laps led driver. With such over half of this race left to go, that's got time to change. Maybe Ash can do that. Another couple at the start of this run. And I mean, who knows, depending on how big the lead actually stretches out to. As I think Will Power, by the way, might just be done for the day. He is still listed as out. I never saw him jump to the pit lane, so the 12 car, after a couple of incidents, might just be done for the day. Red Wings is back out on track, 10 laps down. Yellow flag is out. Oh, no! It is $. Where is he? Problems on the back straightaway. So let's see what happens here. The 45 at $, the blue car on the inside. Oh, Jeff got a little loose. Then problems up top, and door slam was the 45, so I can see how his car is okay. Great job to keep that off the inside wall, by the way. So we are on board with $, who, I mean, through no fault of his own, got stuck behind Jeff, a car that stayed out on the last yellow. Problems up top, and bang. But again, there's not that much space between the outside wall and the inside wall. Great job not to hit that. And $, should still have a fast repair, so overall, this shouldn't affect his day that much, especially because he can drive it back to the pit lane. And then just one more time from Blimp Cam. Carl Edwards and Mark Martin. Mark Martin actually came down. 6 car, really, I think, would be the starter of that one. Those are some birds. They're not even flapping their wings. Oh, yeah. The internet is not happy with us, but we are getting this thing restarted on lap 152. Sixth caution, done and over with. Ash leads the field to green. I'm almost just waiting for stream to disconnect. I would rather not do it on my own, but I feel like, unfortunately, that might be the way that we have to go. We've dropped 6,600 frames ever since the issue started. So we'll see how it goes. There's literally nothing that should be using this much internet to the point that we're having issues here, so I'm not really sure what the issue is. I could just end stream and then just restart it and hope for the best. Generally, when these sort of things happen, it figures itself out. But it doesn't usually take dropping 8,000 frames to do so. And more. And even fucking more. I wish I could just reset my router, but I don't think that that's a very smart thing to do. We'll miss half of what's left of stage 2. I'm really just kind of out of options for what I can do without just ending stream here. Could possibly be a shock to the sim to just all of a sudden have a whole shit ton of CPU usage, just getting that back running again. I'm not sure if we have much of a choice at this moment. It doesn't really appear to be figuring itself out. So we're at least going to start it. The race will continue. Hopefully, all of our problems will be sorted out here by a quick reset. Well, we've only been back live for a minute, but that appears, at least for the time being, to have fixed our problem. We're not dropping frames anymore. We do, however, have a change for the lead. Your stage 1 winner and Caleb is back out front. Now, in the midst of all that, actually, hold on, Ash coming right back at him. Pat, thank you for the 12 bits, but we're dropping frames again. I don't really know what else we can do. We just kind of have to hope that it runs its course and doesn't fuck us up too bad. I don't know. I might just leave you guys to it for a second, and I'll try and exhaust any sort of options that I have. Carl Edwards looked like he had some damage on his side. Oh, well, we disconnected and now we're back already, but that doesn't mean that the issue is solved. I think it's just a battle through it kind of thing. Regardless, I'm going to go make sure that there's nothing using my goddamn bandwidth. that really shouldn't be. So we'll be back in, I'll be back with you anyway. The race will hopefully stay here, but I'll be back with you in a little bit. Ash is your leader. Austin is on the outside. We will hope that our internet problems are resolved. I completely reset the router while we were away off stream. But we are looking at 20 laps to go in stage number 1, or stage 2 rather, of the Coca-Cola 600. Ash, Austin, D. Kuzmic, Caleb, whole bunch of chatters at the front of the field as we go green in our race towards halfway. That would be Juan Pablo Montoya and myself, Pat. I'm not really sure. I don't think I took any damage in the whole deal. Montoya crashed, and then I was way far behind the whole ordeal, and just slammed on the brakes, came to a complete stop. I don't think I took any damage. Let's see. I'm back there in the pack. On the lead lap, I think. Yep, on the lead lap in 21st place. Right. Oh boy. Ash, Austin, Caleb, and Carl Edwards are going to battle for the lead here potentially. Now, Austin got a little bit out of shape. They're out of turn 2. So Ash will hang on for the moment. So in all of this craziness, let's take a look at the pit cycle scenario. And actually, it looks like almost the entire field should be ready to go the distance. Actually, everybody's still running. We'll be able to make it to the end of the stage, so that is not a concern. So this race up front is a race for the stage points. And Ash has not had a lot of luck when it does come to stages. Whether it be a stage win or really much of stage points at all. And we're getting shorted again. Please be it. Please be 250 frames and stop. Please, for the love of God. I have exhausted every no, it's still going. I've exhausted every possible way to stop our internet connection from being ass, and it still remains ass. Now this time it's not been as bad, but the fact that we're still having problems is not good. I will say, of course, there've been a whole lot of storms in the area as of late, so Lord knows that's not helping the scenario, and we'll do what we can here, but I don't really think there's much of a way to help it out any more than what I've got. So, like, I had my PS5 on. I thought maybe there was an update running, and no, that wasn't the case. I went and reset the router. It's still happening, and I mean, we might just have to. It's apparently going to be something we're just going to have to deal with today. We can't restart the race. We're almost halfway through. And I would really hate for it to be something that, finishes off stream. And we've still got baseball to play at some point tonight. But I really don't know what to do to fix our connection problems. I really have done just about everything that I can do. Which is really frustrating. My internet provider just kind of goes through streaks where it's really bad, and then we won't drop it a single frame for like a month's time. And this is one of those bad streaks. Gundy pitted. Now coming back onto the racetrack. On lap 189, we have 12 to go here in this second stage. I don't even know how to fucking call a race that nobody can see. Quite unfortunate. Well, I was gonna say it stopped for a moment. It, didn't. Yeah, we've dropped 25% of, our frames on stream over the last 2 minutes, so, I mean, it's going to be a problem that is going to continue and unfortunately take away a little bit from this race, but the race still does go on. Ash leads here on lap 194. There are 7 laps to go in stage number 2 of the Coca-Cola 600. Austin is in close proximity as we're just going to fight to keep this live as long as we can. That's about all we can do. There are some pit stops occurring. Myself, Haley Deegan, 2 cars that I'm not really sure really all that much in this race. Deegan will go get another lap down. But this is the battle for the stage win. Your stage 1 winner in Caleb currently sits 4th. We know everybody can make it to the end of this stage. On fuel, on tires. And yes, Austin is very much indeed at the front of one of our races, which is a wild thing to think about. So, we just battled through the adversity here on this one. It's about all we can do, and hope it stops at some point. Although after a router reset and it's still not doing any difference, I'm not so certain it will. Which sucks for you guys. This whole series is meant to be a fucking chat thing, and the only decent internet provider that we have here is apparently not up to the task. Well, it is tough to say if we are officially back, and back for good. The way that this has gone on, we picked this, or at least my commentary, back up on lap 275 with Bobby Labonte in the lead. It has been about 100 laps, it feels like. Maybe even more, since we first encountered the real problems with the internet. And a good chunk has happened. We did say goodbye to B $sign in this race. Will Power, I don't remember if that had happened while we were live or not. Ricky Bobby, Squid, Smee, Carl Edwards, Mark Martin. Cal Naughton Jr., I think, may have had some issues before we encountered the problems. Juan Pablo Montoya, who had just a great race in the early going. He is kind of out of this thing as well. And Gundy sits 1 lap down. Actually, 2 laps down. Nope, minus 1 spot from where she, said she, I don't really know, started in this race. But Bobby Labonte leads as we take a look at the pit cycle for the time being, as we have only 23 laps to go here in stage number 3 of the Coca-Cola 600 that has not gone the way that we wanted it to. Pretty much all internet dependent. It's been really, really tough, as we might have a pass for the lead here. And I know it doesn't look like it, since Labonte's scheme did not load in. Those are teammates up at the front of the field. Rowdy Burns, your pole sitter, back up into second place, as it almost feels like we're picking up right about where this race started. However, there is chat scattered throughout the top 10. Austin in 6th, D. Kuzmic in 7th after being one of the slowest cars in the early stages of this race, as we might see a pass for the lead here. Rowdy Burns back up to the point to take lap 280. So again, the pit cycle, everybody has enough gas to make it. It's been no more cautions than we saw in stage 1 or 2. I think we're up to 11 total in this Coca-Cola 600. It has been just a battle. I said it was going to be a race of attrition. Well, I didn't think that was going to be my internet as well. And that we were going to miss such a large part of this race. Maybe I save the replay and see if we can at least put that section of the race in the recording and hope for the best on that. I know it's not going to be ideal. To sum it up, Ash did win stage 2, so a really big stage finish for her. In terms of the points, the stages hadn't been too kind to Ash, really at any point through 3 races. So barring any yellow flags, it is a race at this front of the pack to the end of stage 3 to set ourselves up for the final 100 laps of the Coca-Cola 600. And while we were dealing with those internet problems, we did come to the discovery that apparently Charlotte doesn't have day-to-night transitions, so this race is being run entirely in the evening, I guess. But let's go take a look back through the field, at least for your lead lap cars. Pat is way in the back here. He's actually, I don't believe Pat has sustained any damage. I don't think he's been in any incidents. I tried to keep you updated throughout the internet outage on the Discord. Pat, I don't believe, had any sort of problems. He is the last car on the lead lap. Evo currently sits in 20th. car that's been up front, it's been in the back, it's been all over today. This much of a race still left to go, who the hell knows? Just how bad or how good it can get. Yo Gamer has not been much of a factor today. That bizarre strategy in stage 1 really didn't pan out for him. Hasn't been up really close to the front much of the day. Brad Keselowski is up in 18th place. I myself am in 17th. We got stage 1 winner Caleb in 16th. And I ran into a bit of problems. Oh shit, I already forget. Somebody hit the wall in turn 4. And then the game, or at least live timing, said that I crashed. That actually wasn't the case, but I did have to slam on the brakes and come to a dead stop as to not crash into the back of him because he stopped on the start-finish line. Caleb makes the move for 16th and then up to 15th place. That's where we find Jordo. Martin Truex Jr. just in behind Gundy. That is not for position. The next position up the road is Natalie Decker in 13th place, just trailing Ash. In 12th, Lucas, after being one of the slower cars in the early stages of the race, up to 11th place. Aiden in 10th. D. Kuzmic, what a rebound, by the way, for the 62. Really slow in stage 1. Crazy pit strategy. Did not pan out during the course of this race. Sitting in 9th. Austin is in 7th now with the move around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Greg Biffle is in 6th place. Another Roush car in Travis Pastrana sits 5th, your Homestead winner. El Jefe, Jeff in 4th. Tony Stewart in 3rd. Bobby Labonte, even though you can't tell, is in 2nd. And Rowdy Burns is your leader in stage 3 with 12 laps to go in this 3rd stage. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get 4 stages into the point spreadsheet. I'm going to have to get a little bit creative. Although, truth be told, I don't think... Well, no, there was a bit of a shake-up there at the end of that first stage. We might have... I do think some chatters finished in there. But otherwise... Oh, yeah, they definitely did. While we have a little bit of a lull and things to talk about, I'm going to screenshot those because I did not do that earlier, which is never a good thing to do. And then we'll be screenshotting stage 3s here in a moment. So it is your pole sitter in Rowdy Burns, who leads over Bobby Labonte by not quite a second. And yeah, I know the no day to night transitions, I mean, it had been at every track we went to. I'm actually very confused on that, as Jeff has problems somewhere on the track. He has come to a stop and the yellow will come out. Man, this is really unfortunate. It's up near the front of the field as well. Jeff sitting in 4th place at the time of this. A little loose on the high side, and then Pastrana drove right into the door of the 55. That's going to be really, really unfortunate. It looked like a pretty hard hit. Not so certain about the recovery of that. And I mean, so even though Jeff is out of shape here on the high side, I don't even think he saw this coming. Not really. Pastrana going back to the old Homestead strategy. I mean, that's pretty much how he won. He took out a couple cars during that race, and he has taken out yet another one. We are exiting yellow flag number 12. Only 2 for the stage breaks. Rowdy Burns leads Bobby Labonte, Travis Pastrana, and D. Kuzmic to the line with 5 to go in stage 3. it is Bobby Labonte at the front of the field, which is really unfortunate for only one reason, and that's the fact that the classic interstate battery scheme did not load in despite many, many efforts to try and do so. It looked great at the front of the field for the Coke 600. And I mean, what's even more astonishing is that the front of that 18 car does have damage. And I mean, visible damage. We can see it. You would think that thing would have nothing at the front of the field, but alas, it does. 3 to go in stage 3. And it is Labonte, followed by Rowdy Burns, right in behind. Car that's been up front for the majority of this race. Trying to get back to the front. Your pole sitter. And I mean, he's been up front since, but just can never seem to hold that top spot for very long. Your leading chatter is Austin in 5th. And I mean, when this stage ends, that is going to be very intriguing in terms of the pit strategy, because everybody that really has a chance at this thing did pit on lap 293 under the yellow flag. It's primarily been the same cars in the top 10 really since just after stage 2, as we will come to finish lap 300. Bobby Labonte will be your stage winner. Rowdy Burns in 2nd, Pastrana in 3rd, Stewart 4th. Austin is going to earn stage points here, which is absolutely shocking for the way that his car has performed. Myself, 6th. Deke Kuzmic in 7th. Greg Biffle in 8th. Evo out of absolutely nowhere is top 10 here for this stage. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. wraps up the top 10 for stage 3. As we are under 100 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600. We are 3/4 of the way through the Coca-Cola 600. It has not gone how we all planned, but the race has gone on regardless. Bobby Labonte leads the field of green. Bobby Labonte has managed to hold on to the lead throughout the restart. Now here, as we are in stage 3, there is differing strategies, but not by a whole lot. Let's take a look. The top 15 have stayed out. They pitted on lap 293. The cars that matter from that point on back pitted under yellow at lap 302. So, it's a one-stopper for everybody from here on out, barring, of course, any sort of problems on track. Bobby Labonte up to a 0.6 of a second lead over Travis Pastrana. Labonte has never won a Chat Series race. Pastrana has. Austin winless in any sort of Chat Series that we have done. I myself, a winner back at Laguna Seca in the Mazda series and the Gran Turismo Endurance series, if you want to count that, even though I was in charge of my own car. E. Kuzmic sitting in ninth. I don't believe he's ever won in any sort of iRacing chat series that we've done, any of the sort. Lucas sitting in 10th. That spot keeps kind of cycling. Between Lucas and Evo and Jordo, they're all kind of battling there, 10th through 12th. Lucas has come close many times, and yet not won. Jordo, of course, Daytona 500 winner, Le Mans winner last year. Evo, the finale, right here at Charlotte for the Mazda MX-5 Cup. And just last week, the NASCAR Chat Series All-Star race with the bizarre call to come down the pit lane when it just made no sense. He was leading the race at the end of stage 2, right before the pits closed for stage 2. Pitted from the lead, had fresher tires than everyone else, in just the most all-star race move ever. Travis Pastrana is closing that gap. Austin is a second back from Bobby Labonte. And I mean, Pastrana. What did we title the video for that Homestead race? Travis Pastrana punts his way to the front. And that is exactly what happened. I mean, this car was involved in about 3 different incidents on its way to the front of the field and eventually the win. And those punts were actually towards the back of the pack. It just worked out for the 60 car as things went on. Labonte and Pastrana piecing out. Austin sits third, 1.2 seconds back. E. Kuzmic, who I want to say, let's take a look at this. He sits 5th as things stand. 28 places better than he started. But as is Bobby Labonte, Travis Pastrana is up 30 places from where he started. Austin's up 25. The biggest losers of today's race, Squid, who ran into some trouble, he's 25 places down. Dollar-sign, 22 places from where he started this race. As the field, more or less has just flipped. Bonnie stretching that gap out again. And I mean, let's take a look actually at the points battle. Yo Gamer currently sits 13th. Pat is down in 20th. And I mean, just absolutely stuck in this traffic. Natalie Decker, that would be for position. He's back there with Carl Edwards, who's been in trouble today. Haley Deegan and Smee and Red Wings. This back of the field is just something you do not want to get stuck into. Because sometimes it just feels like there's no way out. But then we move back up the field to Yo Gamer in 13th place, and really not all that much farther in front than Pat. But that, I do believe, is your battle for the points lead. They came in tied at 98 points through 3 races. Yo Gamer had not finished outside the top 10 in a stage this year. He has finished outside the top 10, I want to say, in every stage so far here today, and it was only a matter of time. Now, we do have to note, and it's only slight, Pat did pick up 2 stage points in stage 2 with the 9th place finish. So again, very important to note, and every point is going to matter, as we've essentially just kind of combined 2-point systems. Like, we use the stages and we award stage points, But we also have a season-long thing. There's no playoffs here for this. Especially with how few races we're doing. 11 races on the schedule. Bobby Labonte leading as we are about to take lap 320 in the Coca-Cola 600. I'm still really disappointed there was no day tonight. I don't know if there was something that I did wrong in the settings or what it was, but I didn't change anything from what I've done every other time, and I swear that we've had day to night transitions at every race that we do. I didn't know there was tracks that didn't happen, as Squid has actually retired from the race as well. I didn't really notice that. Oh man, we actually have 5 cars out of this race. Jeff in 30th is out of this race as well. Man, oh man. I mean, I think we're sitting here with 20 cars on the lead lap. Let's watch that cycle around again, yes. And for as long as this race has been and as many incidents as there has been, I'm surprised it's only 10 cars, or 13, that have fallen down a lap or retired. Caution-free stage 4 for the moment, which is honestly quite surprising. The lead for Bobby Labonte is almost a second. 9/10 of a second, might as well be a full second, over Travis Pastrana. But would you look who has moved into 3rd. Now, generally, when you think of a McLaren racing on the greatest day in racing, you do think of Formula One. Or maybe even in recent years, IndyCar. The McLaren has made its way to the Coca-Cola 600 as well, and I'd say is in a pretty damn good position, probably the best of the chatters, to win this race as things stand. For the number 4, last in points, 17 of 17. Hasn't had a good result. And for the driver and the car owner or whatever, for Austin, that's exactly what he had in mind. But he's up here, and it's getting to be crunch time. I believe Ash is up a couple places since the start of this stage. 14th right now. Chatters inside the top 10. Austin, well, myself, back there in 7th place. And I'm so disappointed, by the way, that the gold, the metallic gold on this scheme doesn't get the shine under the lights here at Charlotte. I'm gonna have to do something like this again for another night race or something, of which we will have a few down the road. But man, what the hell? It's been 6 p.m. for 4 hours. We're starting to try to make a move to the inside. It's just the inside line has not been very beneficial. Yellow flag is going to come out. Mark Martin has crashed. He got it rolling again. Well, we're going to have to see what happened here. Mark Martin's day will not get much worse, but he will have to come down pit road. I suppose it could, because I would imagine this car has already used a fast repair. All right, well, this was interesting. Mark Martin and Gundy. Gundy got loose. Mark slid up the track, overcorrected, and just essentially spun himself out off the back bumper of the 48. We are nearing kind of do or die time. Whole bunch of cars have pitted, banking on a yellow flag somewhere down the road. Can't make it to the end under green. Nobody can from this stage. Bobby Labonte leads the field back to green. Well, there are a bunch of cars, and when I say a bunch, I really only mean 4. At the front of the field that stayed out under that yellow flag. Pastrana, Labonte, Aiden, and Austin were the ones that stayed out that know they have another pit stop coming. Everybody else in the field, with the right luck, could make it to the end if they wanted. I think another yellow flag, and we'd certainly be close. Pastrana, your leader. Lucas, another car that was in the back much of the day, trying to make the pass around Pastrana on lap 334. Appears he is going to do so. Pastrana gonna fight back on the high side as we got a 4-car pack at the front of the field, fighting for that top spot. The moment Pastrana hangs on, which is a big surprise, it looks like I've got the right idea. Trying to move around the high side, but now also moving down to the bottom, which has not really been the place to pass much of this race. But with the fresher tires, it just might stick. Out of turn 4. I think that's the first lap I've led all day. Differing pit strategies at the front of the field have certainly thrown the top 10 for a loop. Pastrana falls to second. I'm sure he will continue to fall. And outside of that, Bobby Labonte, who stayed out, is already back down to 10th place. And I want to say everyone else that did so. So let's see. Pastrana stayed out. Labonte stayed out. He's fighting down there in 10th. Let's just make this easy on ourselves. Labonte stayed out. Oh my goodness, somebody is falling way through the field. Austin's back to 19th. And then right in front of him. Wait a minute. Yeah, Austin's in 19th. I'm still trying to find the people that stayed out. I've already forgotten. Pastrana. Labonte. Oh, right, and Aiden. That's who I couldn't find. Pastrana, Labonte, Labonte, Aiden, and Austin were the cars that stayed out. As there's a 2.2 second lead at the front of the field. Dale Earnhardt Jr. sits in second. This is a car we have not focused on much here today. Sitting in a decent spot for the moment. Let's do one little through the field of cars that are still running, of which is not Squid, which is not Jeff. Believe it or not, Haley Deegan is still running, as we're 3 wide here in the back, which is never a good sign. Haley Deegan's problem started early. She is 20 laps down in 29th place. Then we actually move back in the field and go to Red Wings. And again, very similar to his Indy 500 luck. Really got caught up in some nastiness early. You burn that fast repair early as we were flirting with 4 wide back there. And Ash is stuck in amongst this nonsense. Ricky Bobby also in this pack. Caught up in an accident during the internet outage. We then move back to Smee, who's at the tail end of this pack. Your Indy 500 winner, you still see the damage on the right side. A scrape of the wall there. Carl Edwards down on the bottom is in 25th place. Mark Martin, who we saw spun on the backstretch off of someone's back bumper, sits 24th. An early dominant car in this Coca-Cola 600 was Juan Pablo Montoya. He sits 23rd, multiple laps down. Cal Naughton Jr. His problems really started early too, right towards the tail end of when the internet started to die. And to be honest, when it comes to Gundy, I'm not really sure where things went wrong, as Ricky Bobby has crashed somewhere on the racetrack. Caution comes out with 58 to go. And let's go take a look. Where is he? Already off the racetrack. Ricky Bobby and Aiden. Oh, Aiden hit the wall pretty hard too. That car jumped up in the air. Ash held up just enough to avoid that, as Ricky Bobby's missing some body work. Let's see what actually happened here with Ricky Bobby trying to go to the outside on Aiden. Labonte checked up, and him and Aiden just got kind of tangled together there. I wouldn't be surprised if both of those cars will have to pit for some damage. About ready to get the Coca-Cola 600 back to green. We are nearing 50 laps to go. It is the Navy versus the National Guard on the front row. Myself, it's my favorite driver ever, as we go back to green in the Coca-Cola 600. Coming around to take lap 348, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the moment has made the move around the outside. Now, I don't really get in my car's pit strategy. Everybody else in the field now knows they can make it to the end after a lap 344 pit stop. I last pitted on lap 329. In theory, could my car make it to the end of the race on fuel after a couple cautions since? Probably. But the tire advantage for everybody else is what's really going to do this. I'm holding my position a whole lot better than I thought I would, but in reality, I'm probably just holding Evo and D. Kuzmic up. Lucas is still in this battle. Caleb. Travis Pastrana, who was up front much of this fourth stage, now back in ninth. And Bobby Labonte, who led laps in this stage, back into the 10th position. Potential pass for the lead, which surprises me. What the hell do we got going on with the 13? Well, couldn't pull it off. Do you see where the inspiration for the black on the back of the car comes from, perhaps? Have I ever made it clear that I was a Dale Jr. fan? Here comes Evo for second spot. Fucked around with the 88 for a bit too long, and the 24 on the fresher tires cannot make the move yet. One thing we know for sure in a race that we don't know too much for sure is that we will not have a double winner. There are cars that are likely going to finish this race that did our Twitch chat Indy 500 just a couple days ago. But Smee, your Indy 500 winner, is 11 laps down, not a factor here today. So it's all up for grabs, and there's points to be had. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to maintain the point. And even though we should be done with pit stops, there is not a guarantee that we are. Will cars, if the yellow flag comes out, come down for fresher tires? I would certainly hope that my car would be one of them. And just leave, as we've seen so many times today, leave those top 3, 4 cars, or in my case, leave the leader out there to sit on his old tires. And of course, the yellow flags that chat can call, the 2 debris cautions, both of them unused to this point, and you only have until lap 380 to use them. But we haven't exactly needed them today, with plenty of incidents. Only 3 of our, I think, 15 yellow flags have been due to the stages. Everything else has been for something happening on track. Austin trying to make moves around Caleb. Back in 8th and 9th spot. The Kuzmik is involved in this battle too. We also just had a pass for 2nd place. Lucas has made his way around. I'm telling you this, my car's hanging in there a whole lot better than I thought it would. Ash said that I was toast, and I thought she would be right. For the moment, it's hanging on. But we're still not entirely sure if a lap 329 pit stop is going to be able to make it to the end. To be honest, I don't think it matters with older tires. The cars that we think have enough to the end and have enough to go to the end and have the tire advantage, but on lap 344, 15 lap fresher tires. A couple of those laps were run under yellow. Tell you this, Lucas is setting his sights in on Dale Jr. Could this finally be the number 9's day? Coming around to 42 laps to go in this Coke 600. Top 10 is littered with chat. Myself 3rd, Evo 5th, Caleb in 8th, the Kuzmik 9th, Werewolf PvE, otherwise known as Austin, sits in 10th. A couple of chatters did have problems today. Squid, $, Red Wings. Squid and $, out of this race, as it really does feel like Lucas is closing in. Yeah, go figure, eh? Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, had the Coke 600 essentially won. Coming out of turn 4 one year, ran out of gas in a race won by Kevin Harvick. A race that Dale Jr. never won. He sits in the lead for the moment, but that number 9 is coming. And there's not really much of a doubt about it. Back into 3rd, I feel like I'm still holding on a whole hell of a lot better than I thought I would. Bobby Labonte is just a car that will not go away. Nose damage and all, caved in nose. It's almost like it's helped that number 18 Toyota. And just imagine that it's sponsored by Interstate Batteries. Evo sits 5th. He said it earlier. Car never really qualifies well, and it comes to life around stage 3. It's been him up front, in the back, really all day long. But up front when it seems to matter most. As we have 21 cars on the lead lap. Back up to the front of the field as Junior has kind of gapped Lucas a little bit more than when we left off. 0.6 of a second. And really, third on back isn't losing ground or gaining ground on the leader in Junior. On board with the 88. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to stretch that lead again, just about a second over Lucas with 36 laps to go. And the deadline to use the debris cautions coming up as well. We've never been through a race where I've offered any sort of way for chat to control a race where none of them have been used. And there it is. Yellow flag will come out with 35 laps to go to just throw a wrench into this finish. Watch my car be the only one to come down pit road, fuel up, get fresh tires, and then just burn through the field. That's certainly not the way that I think that was intended to go, but that's what's happened. It is getting near the end of a race that has taken way too damn long, but that's the Coke 600. To take lap 370 after caution number 16 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we are back to green at Charlotte. We'll have those cars that pitted under that last yellow flag. It appears that I have been helped out the most. Up back into second place. Lucas trying to make a move down the inside. 5 cars that started this run at the front of the field do have a tire disadvantage. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., your leader, is one of them as we are on lap 372. Surprising that it did take a debris caution to, throw a little bit of a wrench into this 4th stage with the way that it had gone really much of the race. I mean, we have had no shortage of incidents. It really hadn't been necessary. So once again, it is National Guard versus Navy at the front of the field. Fresher tires for the 13. Then the 88. And look who's sitting third. The 24 in Evo trying to join the party. Your all-star race winner at North Wilkesboro, due to just one of the craziest strategy calls I have ever seen. Pitting coming to the 2 to go on a stage, and then having enough and fresher tires to make it to the end of that race. One of the smartest dome calls we have ever seen. However, Evo's going to have to make quick work of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Otherwise, I might just run away with this thing. 5 laps remain for the debris caution redemption. That's a 0.6 of a second lead at the front of the field. Evo is third. There it is. I should just stop talking about those things. Yellow flag comes out with 26 laps to go. We're about to take what could be our final yellow. The debris cautions are no more. There are none left. This is myself and Dale Jr. taking the green flag of the Coke 600 with 22 laps to go. Dale Jr. held a little bit of a pick there on Austin for, well, a little bit less than a lap. The 4 is clear into second place. And it is, if you will, Sauce Castillo and the Turbo Yoda as Smee has crashed and the yellow flag comes out again. From the blimp entering turn number 1. Contact with Aiden, contact with Bobby Labonte, more contact with Bobby Labonte, and Smee crashes real hard into the outside wall, loses that right front quarter panel. Your Indianapolis 500 winner already had a bad day, it just got worse. Well, this from the onboard, you see Aiden crouch down, contact with Labonte, more contact with Labonte. Yeah, right front quarter panel come off. 23 of Smee. I also don't really remember what our bet was. I don't remember what I had to lose. We are coming to 16 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600. Myself, Austin, Ash, Dale Jr., and Caleb are your top 5. Well, it was only a matter of time until it came down to us 3 for a race as Austin looks to the outside. The man that wants to finish last just took first. And yes, the flag is backwards, if you will. Technically, that's the correct way, but it is the McLaren out in front with 15 to go. Rather 14. Caleb has gotten around Ash, at least for the moment. Ash took third place back. And my car is somehow not just done yet. The debris cautions fell perfectly, kept me in the race. Because, I mean, to be honest, I don't know without them if my car's still here. I mean, it held well throughout all the craziness of, you know, the only car that stayed out. I was surprised I only fell back to, like, I think 5th in that whole ordeal. Austin with a 2/10 of a second lead. Ash is 7/10 back. Caleb now about 1.2 seconds. Jordo's joined the fray. 5th. D. Kuzmic in 6th. Dale Jr. 7th. Yo Gamer might just have a good enough finish to maintain, or at least go solo points lead. Because where is Pat as we once again have a 3-way battle for the lead? These never really seem to last long because you get these 3 cars side by side all going for that top spot. Somebody screws up and things go wrong. Your stage 1 winner is 4th. Your stage 2 winner is 3rd. Myself and Austin have not won a stage today or all year. But we're battling for the win of the NASCAR Chat Series longest race. Pass for the lead, potentially. And that's all Ash needs to see. Side by side, the 46 will join the party. With 10 laps to go. Gotta pick the right lane, and I think Ash is trying to do so. Chose the high side, which is where I think you want to be. You carry more momentum around there. Let's see if that helped from Ash. She got a little bit loose down there. Got the corner into Austin, and Ash might just be around. Well, we've also been here before. I led late at Talladega, and the 46 was eventually your winner. Now, Trading Paints didn't load the scheme. This time it did. We're looking how we should with 9 to go. .13 trying to peace out. Gonna need some solid stuff from in behind with 8 laps to go to not let me win this thing. Ash just ever so slightly creeping up closer, just ever so slightly faster. But have to be consistent here down the stretch. 3/10 back. Oh yeah, 46 is coming. But don't get too close, get stuck up in the dirty air, and then lose ground. Might just be a 3-car battle for the win as these 3 cars just continue to bunch up together. 46, a little bit loose in turn 3 and 4. Still close enough. It wasn't a big enough of a mistake to take that car out of it just yet. Ash was a winner at Le Mans last year in the GT class. A winner at Talladega. Whoa, tried to go to the inside and got loose with 6 laps to go. Now Austin might just have a way around. But it is getting late. 5 to go. And Austin and Ash side by side. That is not ideal. There was a chance there. And those 2, 2nd and 3rd, have to get it straightened out. Austin, if he's going to be the one to get around, has got to make that run now. 7/10 back with 4 laps to go. And that might just be all she wrote, barring a yellow flag. The 4 doesn't seem to have much left. crawling in ever so slightly there in 3 and 4. But 8/10 back, 3 laps to go. Is there enough time without a mistake from your leader? I don't think so. Well, can we imagine a more disappointing weekend, if you will, for the greatest day in motorsports? Smee, the winner at the Indianapolis 500, and a chat series that I put on to, you know, for the chat, might just be won by me. 2 laps to go, Austin 9/10 back. Had to be a yellow flag in about 2 corners for the biggest choke job of all time for the 13. It is the final lap of the Coca-Cola 600. America's Navy on the hood for Memorial Day weekend. And through 3 and 4. One final time. I had won 1 chat series race prior to this. Laguna Seca in the Mazdas. But after 400 laps, 600 miles, I win the Coke 600. Austin will be second, and Ash third, Jordo in fourth, Caleb fifth, D. Kuzmic in sixth. Yo Gamer, I do believe, will be your points leader after this in seventh, then Greg Biffle, Bobby Labonte, and Rowdy Burns, Pastrana, Stewart, Gundy, Aiden, Dale Jr., Brad Kozlowski, Pat in 17, Martin Truex Jr., Evo, and Natalie Decker. Your top 20 and your cars on the lead lap. All right, well, it wasn't the race that many wanted. Not even really sure it was the race that I wanted. Obviously, this went a lot wrong. Internet problems, much of the later stages of stage 2, and then into stage 3, much of stage 3, that really just derailed the whole thing. But we managed to get back on. It took so much, dude. Like, I reset my router 2, 3, 4 maybe times, I don't know, and like the second time and the third time didn't do anything. So that was great. But mercifully, the iRacing against the AI does not require an internet connection this whole time. So the race went on. This video is going to be, fucking pieced together. Maybe if I save the replay, you'll get to at least see, part of what went on. And then, go from there. We're actually getting shorted again right now. Oh, that's outstanding. But, yeah, internet problems indeed again. We got the race in. The Coke 600's over. We have a couple weeks off until we head to Michigan International Speedway to resume the NASCAR Chat Series. And so I'm going to close iRacing before anything else breaks.